Episode 154. True or false? The only way to teach dogs about grooming is by grooming them. Is that true? Is that the only way? Is it false? Is there more to the story than that? That's what we'll cover in the first part. In the second part, we're going to talk about itchy skin and how that affects the dog, and not just that itchy spot. We'll talk more about the behavior issues that happen with itchy skin. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. It seems that there are a lot of people thinking that dogs can only learn about grooming by being groomed. So is that true? I think it's a good question to even start with. Is that true? Is that false? Is there more to it? Is it part of the story? So here's where I fall on this issue. I'm going to say that it's partially true, and sometimes tragically false. Yeah, yikes, tragically false, because I know that probably sounds really harsh. That's really bold opinion, Chrissy, and so I'm going to start with that. When I say that teaching dogs about grooming by grooming them and completing grooming can be tragically false, it's because I think sometimes we push dogs into handling and care and grooming that the dog isn't well prepared for, and then continue to force and continue to push when they're literally showing us, I am not comfortable with this, I'm nervous about this. They make motions to ask us to give them space, things like growling, or trying to run away, or trying to rip out of our arms. So when you think about all those things, or a dog saying, I'm not comfortable with this, yet if we are in the mindset that the only way to work on this is to push through, is to meet them on the other side and have them realize that, see, that wasn't so bad. Grooming doesn't hurt. I think that that's where a lot of dogs have this bad experience with grooming. So we actually can take it into a terrible, terrible direction by assuming that the only way for a dog to learn about grooming is by being groomed. So I know it's a bold statement. And you might even be saying to yourself, well, how else are they going to learn it? All right. Here's the thing. I think that there are a lot of steps to grooming. And I think people who are not dog trainers, the non-dog trainers out there, aren't used to breaking things down into much smaller pieces. So what I mean by that is there are a lot of things that owners can and should be working on at home. You should be able to touch your dog anywhere. As an owner, you should be able to touch your dog anywhere on their body, anywhere, at any time, in any circumstance. And maybe you're not there yet, but that should be the goal, because these are house pets who live in our homes, and this is a goal. You should be able to touch your dog anywhere. So if their dogs aren't learning that at home, that shows up as problems in the grooming setting. But that's not just a grooming problem. And it happens a lot. We have owners who are like, oh gosh, we bring him in because he won't let us touch his bum. That's a terrible, terrible excuse for bringing a dog in for grooming. There are other things that should be being taught at home. This is not strictly a groomer's responsibility to teach dogs about grooming. Like I said, it seems a little counterintuitive. You should be able to touch your dog anywhere. So if a dog is scared or nervous and an owner's having trouble with that, they can be seeking help from their veterinarian to find out if there's a physical component, from a dog trainer, from a groomer who maybe says, let's get him acclimated slowly and not worry about doing full grooms on him until he feels more comfortable. Because we don't have to get it all done today. And I think that when we start thinking that the dog has to learn through grooming, that we start trying to accomplish a really good trim on a dog who cannot handle that yet. And that's not really our goal when we are faced with a behavior problem. The dog is having a hard time. The dog's not giving us a hard time. The dog is having a hard time. Now, I'm going to circle back. It's partially true. Partially true because no one but a grooming shop has a grooming shop type scenario, or house call, or mobile groomer. But there are a bunch of things that a dog is going to learn about in that environment. But they can be better prepared for that environment before they get to us. And I think that we should be pushing owners to know about that. And I think most of us do that when we have a new puppy visit, right? We don't usually do like a full clippers all over their body the first time puppy visit. We're like, let's get him slowly used to this and help him understand that this is safe and what kind of noises he might experience, what kind of tools he might see, what kind of people he might meet. And we're more gradual with puppies, but we should look at our behavior problems the same way. Like, okay, he's having trouble with this. Let's backtrack to helping him feel more confident with it, helping him feel more secure, helping him feel more safe. Now, you might think that a dog who is being aggressive, who is showing their teeth and actively lunging at you, is a very confident dog. And in some respects, that could be true. But aggression is because they're uncomfortable or they're afraid. So if a dog is actively trying to rip your arm off, they are not comfortable. They're not calm, comfortable, and cooperative, but they're expressing that this is overwhelming for me. They're not having fun either. They are having a bad experience. You're having a bad experience. Someone's going to get hurt, right? That's when dogs get hurt, people get hurt, equipment gets broken, owners become really angry because they have no idea how their dog could get hurt. A lot of this is owner education, helping them understand that all of our tools could hurt a dog and that the expectation is that they're also going to be working with their dog. I don't need to, and okay, let's all take a deep breath. I don't need to, you don't need to. Groomers, professional groomers, do not need to groom dogs who act feral. I know, someone out there is like, yes, and someone else is like, but what do we do? We encourage our owners to do some basic dog training. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to go to an obedience class or a puppy class, but they might need to do some work at home if they can't touch their dog. I think a lot of the time we see grooming problems and think, well, it's because of the equipment or the environment that we're in. And the only way for them to learn about that is to be here in this environment with me, the groomer, with this piece of equipment. But there's a lot of skill building that they can do at home. A lot, and they should be. I'm going to give you an example. One of my guys came to me as really, really happy-go-lucky, silly guy. People touching him, never been a problem. Not a problem at all. But he was really squirmy when he needed some x-rays done. So after I found out that he was really squirmy for his x-rays, I taught him how to be good for that. And later in life, when he needed x-rays again, he was really good for it. It was just a matter of me looking at what he might need in the future, and it was hip x-rays for him, but looking at what he might need in the future and just planning ahead. Even with a dog who's super, super friendly, super, super lovey, wants to be around people and will let you do anything. I've also had plenty of animals that did not want to let you do everything, and you have to teach them how to trust you and trust a couple of people. Now, in that case, I will say there are times where it's like, okay, as an owner, you're going to need some help with that if you have a dog who has some big issues. But that doesn't let owners off the hook. That does not let owners off the hook. Oh, well, he just gets like this, so we bring him to the groomer once every 6 months or year for a shave down. Like, nope, nope, nope. That's trying to avoid the problem, and it's putting their dog at risk, and it's putting us at risk. And that's how we have to frame it out. I don't want you talking to owners that their dog has a behavior problem as much as it's about, we have a safety problem because of your dog's behavior. We have a safety problem. And frankly, the expectation is that most dogs can learn to be good for grooming. Most of them can learn to be good. This has been my experience over and over again in different settings, not just my own customers. Most of them handle it really well. So I think that for the most part, owners don't know that. So we need to tell them, your dog can probably learn this like all the others do. But you're going to have to do some work at home. This is not going to be, I force him through trims, and he's going to realize that that didn't hurt. Because let me tell you another part of why it tragically fails sometimes is that being forced to do stuff that you are expressing is terrifying or frustrating or stressful or makes you anxious is the bad experience. It just is. That's where the bad experience happens. It's not when a dog gets a little bit nervous and we calm them down again. That's not a bad experience. That's just, I got a little nervous. How well can this dog handle stress? And can I calm him down again? It's when we try to do a full grooming on a dog who is literally telling us, I'm not prepared for this. And then we have to ask, how do we prepare this dog? And that's going to be a collaboration. That's not just us. It's not just the groomer. So I want you to think about the way to teach dogs about grooming is by teaching them about being handled, teaching them about being around strangers, teaching them about being around other environments, getting them out of just their own house, teaching them about tools, teaching them about being brushed, teaching them about having their feet handled. There are a lot of things that happen outside of grooming that, of course, cause grooming problems. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes and tell all of your friends. I want to talk a little bit about a particular time when a dog might find grooming really hard to handle, and that is when they are itchy. The itchies and the scratchies. So the reason why this is on my mind right now is because I have very sensitive skin, and a dog gave me a scratch right at my belt. Like, you know, when a dog gets a foot up underneath your belt? Non-groomers have no idea what I'm talking about. I'll vet techs do, but dogs will put their foot on your belt and just kind of get some leverage, and I got a scratch. But I am allergic to the Band-Aid that I put on. So now I have this scratch and an allergic reaction over it. And the itchiness in an area that always has a waistband around it, it was driving me crazy. Driving me crazy. So I want you to think about these dogs that have skin issues all the time. I just, especially this week, was just so sympathetic about skin issues. Let me tell you from a human point of view, it made it very hard to sleep at night. Ooh, interesting, right? We don't really think about dogs not being able to sleep and how grumpy that makes us and probably affects them too. There are some interesting things about dogs not getting enough sleep and how that can affect their mood. So I want you to think, okay, so a dog who's itchy all the time might not be sleeping well. And that could be really affecting their mood and their tolerance level. Because it affected mine. So when we talk about tolerance level, here's an example. I'm usually really, really patient. This is something I've cultivated. It is not natural for me, but patience pays off, and I've learned how to be very, very patient. But my patience level is dramatically different when I'm itchy all the time. And when I don't sleep well because I'm itchy all the time, and I'm far more likely to find things that normally wouldn't bother me starting to bother me. And, it could just be a matter of okay, the amount of noise. Maybe it's noise on this particular day that I'm normally I can handle this, but today I just can't because I'm itchy and I haven't slept well and I'm kind of flustered and I'm just And as long as I'm kept busy, I'm pretty good. But, as soon as I have nothing to do, it's like I'm chanting, don't itch that, don't itch that, don't itch that. I think that so many of our pets have chronic skin problems. And we have to really think about, how does this dog feel? Because you may think, but I'm not near your ear. I'm not even near your head. But this dog is like, "Oh my god, if this woman keeps picking at me, I'm gonna lose it." And, okay, I can relate to that this week, like, "Oh my god, if just leave me alone, just leave me alone, I need a little bit of alone." So, I think that sometimes we assume it's only that area that's itchy that a dog would respond to, or that this dog's itchy all the time, does he really know any different? And that could be true. But I think we've also seen dogs that when they find whatever was causing it, and maybe they actually find a solution. The owners have been searching, they've been running tests, and then they find some solution, and this dog springs back to a very different tolerance level. You know? I think we've all seen that a dog that now is feeling good and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I really see it." He's like, "Oh, happy-go-lucky. Oh, hi." But this was a dog who previously was like, "Oh crap, the dryer's on. Oh no." And now he's like, "La la 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 la." You know, I know, so anthropomorphic today. But I think that we forget because some of these dogs have chronic problems. Some of these breeds are known for having problems, and sometimes I think owners give up. I had an owner at one point whose dog had such dark, gooey gunk coming out of this dog's ears all the time. And a dog who was really, really good for me was becoming very intolerant of me working near his ears. And I kept telling her, "You've got to get to the vet with this." And she's like, "The vet said he's a cockapoo and this is just what they do." And I'm like, "You need a second opinion? Or we need to, bring him in again. I'm not touching these ears," which I didn't, but I'm like, "You have 5 kids at home and your dog is becoming very intolerant for a gentle professional. I'm really worried about what this dog is going to do." She did end up getting a second opinion, and that second opinion vet said, "Ooh, yeah, we need to do something about these." And that dog got a little bit better, and, unfortunately, they moved, so I don't see them anymore. I don't know how it all turned out, but that dog was becoming more and more frustrated by anything being near his ears. And this owner had just kind of forgotten, They hear, "Well, that's what this breed is like." Like, "Oh, yeah, Cocker Spaniels have that skin," or Shih Tzus have that problem near the folds of their eyes, or Bulldogs have that problem near the folds around their eyes, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes they have grown numb to it. And sometimes it is still very much a sore spot for the dog, a tolerance level that is constant for them, or intolerance level that is constant for them, where the dog is constantly itchy, constantly itchy. And, like I said, I have super sensitive skin, and having a reaction to a Band-Aid on top of a cut, which also meant that I couldn't put another Band-Aid on because now I'm just not going to mess with it. I know I'm going to have an allergic reaction to anything at that point that I put on my skin. I was ready to treat it with a flamethrower. And it took about a week to resolve. But just thinking about how frustrating things could be even more frustrating. Now, let's also talk about the attention span. If you are itchy all the time, your attention span is so much lower. It's so small. It's microscopic. I can keep focused on anything. I mean, already I'm kind of "Ooh, what's over there? Ooh, what's over there? Hey, look, shiny. Look, squirrel." I mean, that's me already, but the fact that now I was itchy, it made it so much harder to concentrate on anything. I do a lot of reading, and I tend to read when I'm going to bed, and there were times where I'm like, "I need to reread that page because I just totally got distracted." Totally distracted rereading a page, and it's not like it was a text or something. This is a novel. It's not like I'm writing a report on it. I'm just trying to follow a story, and I found myself having a really hard time doing it because itchiness affects everything. And because I was having trouble sleeping, it was reading in the middle of the night. Every time you woke up itchy, it's like, "Well, I guess I'm going to open up my Kindle and start reading again." And, finding myself reading 3 or 4 hours during the night. Woke up at 2, woke up at 4, fall asleep, the Kindle hits the floor, and you wake up again, and you're itchy. So I think that we need to be more sympathetic when we have dogs with skin problems and really kind of internalize that. Like, how does that feel? It sucks. That's tech talk. Itchy skin sucks. But it's not just about that area that's itchy. It's everything that this dog is going through because of itchy skin. And when you think about it that way, you're more likely to say, okay, I'm going to give him a break. He's getting a little bit frustrated. This dog needs a break. And then we also have to think about the owners who have treated itchy skin by just simply blocking the dog's ability to itch. Now, to some extent, that does make sense. Okay? With my own itchy spot on my waistband, if I didn't have anything rubbing up against it, I was usually pretty good. I have a distraction, I'm working on something, I'm watching TV, I'm knitting, or I'm working, whatever it was, okay, fine, I'm good for a while. But a breeze blows against it and you're itchy again. So it's readjusting the seat and you're itchy again. Lots of things that constantly bring it back and bring it back. Which, by the way, I mean, like I said, it resolved after about a week, but how many of our dogs live like this constantly? And I think that we assume that that's just their life and they're going to be okay and they know better. They know better. Well, I know better than to be snappy with my husband. Doesn't mean I didn't do it once or twice and apologized right away because I'm really pretty good at recognizing when it's me. Like, I'm sorry, honey, I'm just really frustrated and itchy. But we know that we are not at our best, and these dogs aren't either. So I want you to look at skin problems and continue to drive our owners toward solutions. And that could be their veterinarian. That could be talking to their veterinarian about maybe a veterinary dermatologist. And in at least one of the cases I've worked with my own customers, they did the veterinarian and the veterinary dermatologist, and then we consulted with the canine esthetician. And just trying to find solutions, trying to chase down something that's going to help this dog feel better so that this dog can have a better quality of life. Because itchiness sucks. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group, Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, or the Facebook page, Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you.